Hello, my Algebra 2 friends. We're back. This is the second half of 3.2's lesson. So we're going to be setting up systems of linear equations from word problems. And I am going to warn you that the selection of word problems we have in this lesson aren't very exciting. Sorry. So the good news today is we are just going to be setting up our systems along with our variables very specifically. And once the system is set up, that's all you have to do today. You don't have to go through and solve them. There might be a time, in the future where I have you solve them, but today's not that time. All right. So here we have Daryl and Deshawn, and they are, move my marker, they're improving their yards by planting daylilies and shrubs. They bought their supplies from the same store. Daryl spent $30 on 2 daylilies and 6 shrubs, and Deshawn spent $60 on 9 daylilies and 2 shrubs. Find the cost of 1 daylily and the cost of 1 shrub. So the first thing we have to do is what's called defining your variables, and you have to select what variable symbols you want to use in place of them, and then you have to very specifically define what they are. And for these word problems, often what I do is I look at the very end of the problem. It tells you what you don't know, because remember, a variable is something that we don't know yet. So it says right there, find the cost of 1 daylily and the cost of 1 shrub. So I'm going to use X and Y because I'm very boring like that. And I can't just say like X equals daylilies or, something like that. I have to be very specific. It is the cost of 1 daylily. Okay, still can't write. All right, Y I'm going to use for my other variable, and it's the other unknown thing, which is the cost of 1 shrub. So notice very specific, and more importantly, very accurate of what those variables are going to represent. So now we're going to set up 2 equations because we have 2 unknown things. That's how many equations we're going to need. And the first equation is all about Mr. Daryl. Daryl spent $30 on 2 daylilies and 6 shrubs. So that equation would look like this. Daryl spent $30, that was his total, on 2 daylilies, so that would be 2x, and 6 shrubs, 6y. Similarly, we can set up an equation that represents, Deshawn, which is $60 on 9 daylilies and 2 shrubs. So I'm going to set them up in a way where everything's kind of lined up. So $60 on 9 daylilies and 2 shrubs. Now, I went to the effort to set them up this way because now I could use elimination if I had to go ahead and solve this. But we are not going to ask you to do that today on this lesson. So the important features that we have here. We have figured out that we have 2 unknown things. We define them very clearly over here. And then we set up the system of equations over here. And that's all we have to do today. I know that doesn't sound like a lot of work, but for those of us who don't really enjoy word problems in math, this isn't the most fun. All right, so now we have Natalie and Jose, and they're selling pies for a school fundraiser. Customers can buy apple pies or pumpkin pies. Natalie, we know, sold 6 apple pies and 6 pumpkin pies for a total of 132. And Jose sold 2 apple pies and 9 pumpkin pies for a total of 128. Find the cost of 1 apple pie and 1 pumpkin pie. So same idea. That very last statement there, that defines for you what the 2 unknown things are. So I'll get creative this time. I'll use A for apple pie's cost and P for pumpkin pie. So A represents, and don't just say apple pie, or definitely don't say number of apple pies, because that's not unknown. What is unknown is the cost of 1 apple pie. And then the other unknown thing is P for pumpkin pie. P is the cost of 1 pumpkin pie. So there's my variables defined. Now I'm going to go back to the words and I'm going to find my equations. So Natalie is her own equation. She sold 6 apple pies, 6 pumpkin pies for 132. So for my variables, that would be 6 apple pies. So 6 times the cost of an apple pie. And then 6 pumpkin pies for a total of 132. Now, similarly, we have Jose. Notice my highlighter usage. I like highlighters, especially in math word problems. They really help you kind of sort through the information, so I encourage you guys to use them as well. He sold 2 apple pies and 9 pumpkin pies for a total of 128. Everything's all lined up really nicely right now. If I wanted to solve this through elimination, I sure could. But for today, this is all the work you have to do. Let's see here. These are 2 more. Okay. So for problem 3, and this is the one that gets messed up the most, because people don't read very carefully. So let's read through this one. We have a senior class from high school A and high school B, and they're going on separate trips to a water park. The senior class from high school A rented and filled 8 vans, 7 buses with 392 students. And high school B rented and filled 3 vans, 8 buses with 405 students. Each van and bus carried the same number of students. How many students can a van carry, and how many students can a bus carry? So once again, that question really highlights for us, pun intended, what is unknown to us. So I should highlight all that, I suppose. Those are the 2 unknown things for us. So usually when I ask the class, what variables do you want to use? Everyone says V and B for van and bus. And then I tell them be more specific. So if we choose the variable V, what does V represent? The question is, how many students can one van carry? So it is the number of, you can use a number symbol if you'd like, number of students in one van. And then B would be usually the other variable. That would be the number of students in one bus. So most often a child would make a mistake on this question because they would say like V equals vans, and that's not specific enough. So then I'd say be more specific, and then they say V equals number of vans. And then I go, well, that's just not right, because we know the number of vans. What we don't know is how many students are in each van. All right, some more information now. We have 2 equations. First equation is all about high school A. High school A rented and filled this. All right. So that would be 8 vans. So 8 times how many students fit in each van. And then 7 buses. So 7 times how many students you fit in one bus. And it totaled out to 392 students. Similarly, there's my highlighter. High school B rented and filled 3 vans, 8 buses, 405 students. So 3 times how many kids you can fit on a van, plus 8 times how many kids you can fit on a bus, and it totaled out to 405. So that's all I need you to do for this problem. Set up your system, but also specifically defining and correctly defining your variables. 2 things we're looking for. One more. Castile School, that's a neat name, is selling tickets to a play. On the first day of ticket sales, the school sold 10 adult tickets and 10 children's tickets for child tickets for a total of $160. The school took in $106 on the second day, sold 8 adult tickets and 6 children's tickets, child's tickets. What's the price of each of 1 child ticket and 1 adult ticket? So again, that question is actually, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of this problem. What is the price of 1 adult ticket and 1 child ticket? Those are the 2 unknown things. So again, you can go back and use X's and Y's. You can use other variables. You can use little tiny pictures for all I care. I can't draw, so I'm going to use variables. I will use A to represent, remember this is price, so it is the price of 1 adult ticket. Oops, that's an L. And then you guessed it, I'm going to use C for the price. You can say cost, but price of 1 child ticket. Why am I pluralizing that? Let me get rid of that. So, I am not your English teacher. I'm not going to like ding you for grammar and improper usage, but what I will mark you down for is just not doing it correctly. So if you were to say like A equals number of adult tickets, that's not correct because that's not what's unknown to us. Just be careful on your wording, making sure it's very specific, but accurate. That's the key. All right, highlighter, let's go green again. So this time we have two equations. They represent the 2 days that we sold tickets. So on the first day, they sold 10 adult tickets and 10 children's tickets for a total of 160. I don't know why I just didn't highlight that whole line. I'll do that. Okay, so that equation would be 10 times the price of an adult ticket, and then 10 times the price of a child's ticket, for a total of 160. And then blue, second day, we gotta be careful, they went backwards here, so $106 is your total, but they sold 8 adult tickets and 6 children's tickets, child tickets. So that would be, if I line them up again, 8 times the cost of an adult ticket, and then 6 times children's cost, for a total of 106. That is mean for my dyslexia. They shouldn't have done that to me. All right, and that's kind of all we're doing today. I could go back and solve all these. It wouldn't take me that much time, but I don't want to bore you with that. We'd use the elimination method unless you just really like other methods for some reason. And they're not too bad to solve. I will tell you, though, that if we get into the future and I ask you to solve them, I'm not going to want to see like an ordered pair answer. You're going to have to write me a sentence as to what your solution is. Not just like, A equals this and C equals this. I want to see the price of an adult ticket is, and the price of a child's ticket is. All right, I think that was the last question. That was a nice short lesson. All right, good luck, everybody.